Following the death of Sir Frank, Friar Park was put up for auction, and it was purchased by a 27-year-old gentleman named Percival Victor Ezekiel David. He paid £46,500, which translates to $2.5 million in 2020. Born in Bombay, his father was Sir Sassoon Jacob David, a cotton and yarn merchant, mill owner, and later founder and chairman of the Bank of India. Percival married his cousin, Vere Moselle David, in London in 1920, and in the following years began to collect Chinese art and to study the Chinese language. He inherited his father's baronetcy in 1926. He and Lady David lived at Friar Park for 34 years. During that time, and until his death in 1964, he was considered to be a world-renowned Chinese art connoisseur. In the same year that he and his wife divorced in 1953, Sir Percival David married his second wife, Sheila Jane York. Sir Percival David's wife, Lady Vere Moselle David, moved into the upper lodge while the rest of the property was put up for sale. She stayed on and expanded the size of the upper lodge to accommodate her needs. All things considered, she, like Lady Catherine Crisp before her, was likely happy to abandon the monstrosity that was the main house, where they each spent decades of their lives, ambling through dozens of rooms, some of considerable dimensions, and rambling up and down long, contorted corridors. The rest of the estate was donated to the Salesian Sisters of Don Bosco, a female religious institute formed in 1872. By the late 1960s, Friar Park was in a state of disrepair, and there were discussions on how best to sell the estate and relieve the Salesian Sisters of the burden of the estate. At one point, plans were considered to develop the property into a neighbourhood. Because of the incredible cost of doing so, it is unlikely there were ever serious plans to demolish the house. Instead, like other such homes in similar circumstances, it merely would have been divided up in order to create a series of luxury lofts as part of the neighbourhood surrounding it. While waiting to sell the bulk of the estate, a portion of the northeast side of the property was sold separately. It would become the location of the Badgemore Primary School. The best bet, of course, would be to sell the house and the gardens in one fell swoop. Thankfully, in the late 1960s, there were plenty of wealthy people in and around London who could afford to buy it and maintain it. The only question being, who would it be?